you know, with that clear canopy, it's toasty.
So how tight do you do your seatbelts when you're...
I pull my lap belt fairly snug. Yep. The lap belt is the important one.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to hook up. He's going to give me a signal here. He's going to open his hand, and I'm going to pull back the yellow knob. And then he'll make a fist, and I let it go forward.
Okay.
Then I go through my pre-flight checklist. A for altimeter, set to 1,000, check. A for air brakes.
I've got to do that with mine too, right?
Yeah, yep, just like that. Yep, and sometimes I give it a tap with my finger because it's one of these things. Yeah, there you go. Altimeter set. Air brakes are closed and locked. That's these guys. And I usually unlock them and relock them to make sure. The ballast is out. That would be behind your left calf, and I made sure that's empty. I'm belted. You're belted?
Yep.
Okay, we got 3 C's. Connected to the tow plane, yes. Canopies both closed and latched, yes. Controls free, so you didn't put a purse or a camera up there that's going to obstruct my movement.
Sir.
I don't want to discover that at 100 feet because that'd be bad. And then 1D and 1E. D, direction of wind. I look at the windsock off to the right there, and I see we got about a 40-degree right cross, maybe blowing 8 or 9. And I mentally I make a note of that. I'm going to have to put left rudder so I don't weather vane. When I lift, I'm going to drift left. So I think about what that's going to mean to my takeoff because it gets busy pretty quick. And then A, B, C, D, E. E is emergency. Below 200, we're going to land straight ahead. Above 200, I'm going to turn right into the wind to make a U-turn coming back. So on this one,
right because of the wind today.
Yeah, I turned into the wind. Yeah, if I turned with the wind, I might throw away precious altitude and not get back. Yep. So you can shadow me lightly on the controls. Keep your feet on the pedals. I hold the stick about 2/3 of the way down myself and rest my arm on my leg. It's just a wrist thing, more than a whole arm thing. But you'll discover your comfort zone.
Okay.
All right. Rally check. This is radio call.
Rally's good.
We are ready for takeoff. Here we go.
Fairbault traffic. Rally 2 Romeo Alpha 30 glider in tow Fairbault.
And as soon as we begin to roll, I'm trying to notice what the glider's doing. There's a lot of left rudder I'm putting in there just to keep from weather vaning.
Okay.
Now I'm going to raise the nose just a touch, and I'm going to wait for it to take off. I'm not going to yank it off the runway. There we go. I'm going to go up about 8 feet. I'm going to slide left, line up with the fuselage in the tow plane. When he hits 60, he'll start to climb. There he goes.
All right.
And notice I'm not even looking at the planet anymore. I don't care how we are oriented to the ground. I'm just looking at the tow plane. Yep. Because once we're in the air mass, wind is really non-existent up here, right?
Sure.
The wind only is the relative motion to the ground. We're not on the ground anymore. So I just stay lined up. And I keep him kind of visually on the horizon so that he doesn't really feel me pulling his tail up or down. Yep. Too bad, yeah. The temperature-wise, this feels all right when we're all buttoned up. It's feeling a little chilly on the ground. Yeah, so you'll notice as I fly, I'm making very small movements on the stick and the pedals.
Oh yeah.
And when you fly, if you're typical, you will actually be, you'll be,
right.
Yeah, you'll be all over the place because a lot of the stuff I'm doing, I'm making very small movements because I can feel the glider is going to do X, Y, or Z. It's going to go up or down. And just because I've spent a billion hours sitting here, I know that. But that will be your goal, is to see how little you need to move the stick and the pedals to stay in position.
Sure. How hard is it to stay behind the tow plane?
Yeah, well, you've had...
he's moving around a little bit.
Yeah, and it depends on a day. Like these clouds ahead, I think we've got thermals already today, actually. Actually, look at your Vario.
Yeah, that's because he's pulling us up though, right?
Well, sorta. He has enough power to bring us up at 500 feet per minute. We're hitting 900 feet there. So these clouds are definitely working. So we will be working some lift today. It's this cold, dry air is perfect conditions for Minnesota this time of year. The crops are not in, all the fields are dark and dry, so we're gonna get some early morning lift here.
So he decides to turn there just because he doesn't want to get too far from the airport?
Yeah, I never know what he's gonna do. His general marching orders are to keep us, take us upwind from the airport, so that as we frolic about, we drift home. Sure. But yeah, and he's a new guy this year, so he's kind of getting into his rhythm too. The good news is, because of our performance in this glider, no matter what happens to tow plane or the rope or anything else, we've always got plenty of altitude to get home. As long as he doesn't take us downwind on a very windy day, then he can screw us up.
How far do you usually go from the airport when you're flying?
Yeah, you know, 5 miles is typical kind of radius.
I mean,
In fact, I'm going to call him on the radio now. This is a beautiful day. Let's get on top of these clouds. Just 1 second. And Riley, I think we put a 4 AGL on this one.
4 AGL, roger.
All right.
AGL is above ground level?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a shame. We got AGL and MSL. We have our altimeter set to sea level, and the reason for that is if we see another airplane, we can report our position in units that he can compare with his own instrumentation, right?
Yeah.
Right. Whereas a lot of times we're more interested in above ground level when it comes to are we going to get back to the airport or not. So how hard is it to follow the tow plane? Why don't you take the stick, Matt? You got it? I'm throwing this to you kind of early in the game, so you have it.
Just like what you said.
Yeah, you're supposed to. Yeah, you're supposed to have major issues following him. Otherwise, you're doing above average already. Yeah, climb up just a titch. There you go. If you get too low behind the tow plane, the prop washes down there, and it's not dangerous, but it'll make it very tricky to fly because it's very turbulent. And the only thing I'm doing with the pedals is keeping that yarn pointing.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Being a total newbie, I really don't think about the pedals at all.
No. In fact, just ride them. You just fly with the stick. I got the pedals. And my job with the pedals is to keep that yarn pointing at your forehead.
Yep.
So if you'll notice, if you move the stick left, I push left rudder.
Yeah.
You move, that's the general rule. It's going to be very pretty in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to show me your GPS app on your iPhone.
Well, it's actually, I'm a bicyclist. That's the one that I use for tracking all my bicycling progress.
Ah.
Commuting to work and so forth.
Okay, does it work with altitude?
It should, but I haven't tried that. It does altitude just based on how many hills I climb to my bike.
You're doing really good here. All right, I was wondering if it was something you're going to download at the end of this flight, and
I can try to export it and send it to you if you'd like to try it out.
Yeah.
The app is free. I don't know that they have aircraft on there.
Yeah, you know, I just need something real simple to time the flights for purposes of charging customers.
Oh, sure.
And
I would work for that.
Yeah, I think you probably would. Like, for example, this flight computer that I just went over with you, it will do that, but you'll notice we didn't turn it on, so too much. And you could climb up just a hair, get him on the horizon. There you go.
I'm sure he notices when I'm flying close to you.
He really doesn't. All my students at some point go to him and go, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Kyle, about yanking you around." Kyle's always like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." I mean, we can yank him around. We'll do that on our next flight so you can see, but he doesn't notice that. Yeah, you're doing really, really good, man.
That's good, thanks.
Yeah. We're just about to hit 5 MSL. So this is actually kind of cool. Let me have the stick back so you can just soak up this sight. Yep, I got it. Go ahead and bring the yellow knob back nice and easy. All right, good deal. And then we go right, and he goes left. See him off to the left there. He dives down. It's kind of cool. I'm just going to go like that so we can see him. But normally we do a 90-degree turn to the right, like this. What a beautiful day. Too bad there's an upper level layer of clouds, otherwise the sun would be lighting these up brilliantly.
Sure.
So right now I'm flying 48 knots. That's minimum sink airspeed at our weight. This is the speed you would fly if you wanted to have the absolute longest possible flight.
Okay.
48 knots. 58, I'm going to speed up a little bit. Like right in here. This would be about the speed we'd fly if you want his best glide ratio. So this would get you the farthest distance across the ground. It's also a really good maneuvering speed too. There's the tow plane heading back down there, straight ahead of us. All right. Beautiful day. Woo. All right, so why don't you go ahead and take the stick back?
Okay.
And I'll keep the pedals for now, but keep your feet on them. And oh, actually, let me actually do some instruction here for a moment, and then I'll give you the stick back. Notice how see the horizon off in front of you there? I guess it's kind of the cloud horizon. How does that blue yacht on your canopy, the yaw string, how does that line up with it? Is it above it or below it for you?
It's just a little bit below it.
A little bit below it. All right, so you can raise and lower the nose, right, with the stick?
Yeah.
I want you to always keep the horizon right about there relative to your yaw string.
Okay.
Even when you turn, I'm going to move the stick left. I like this angle here. I'm going to move it right a hair, lock it in. See how I slide the yaw string along the horizon? Like that?
Yeah.
And then when I roll level, I keep it right there. What that accomplishes is it keeps your airspeed nice and steady without you having to look at your dials and look inside the glider. You can keep your eyes out of the cockpit the whole time. It's prettier, it's safer. All right. And you got the stick in.
Okay.
All right, so you can experiment any way you like. Gently go left, right, fast, slow. And if this gets you ahead a little bit on the first flight, that's totally normal. Usually by the second or third flight, you can do this all day.
When you say it gets my head, you mean?
If it gets you feeling a little punky?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
do you
definitely
feel?
a new experience.
Do you feel a little bit of it already?
Yeah, I mean, I took Dramamine before coming just
Okay, good.
to be sure, but
Yep.
I'm
probably
feeling it more than I thought I would for the amount we're moving around. It doesn't seem like we're moving around a whole lot.
Yeah, I shouldn't have whipped that 90-degree turn
you're
on you
okay.
back there. But it's not unusual the first flight to feel that. In fact, tell you the truth, my very first flight every season when I haven't flown over the winter, I'm so happy to be up here. I'm doing hammerheads and loops and just getting crazy. And sometimes I get myself almost sick.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I live in this thing too, but by the second flight, it's just totally normal again. You know, unless if you have a little too much wine the night before, you stay up too late, it can affect you. Yeah, I usually fly right about where you are, maybe 50 knots. Right by the yellow triangle is a beautiful speed. It's fast enough where you get pretty good control response, and it's slow enough where your flight's plenty long.
I'm a bit surprised we didn't have to dip the nose to get into our airspeed back when we pulled the yellow knob.
Right, yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
Some of the videos that I've watched were about winch launch training. And that's part of it. If the winch goes before you expect it to, you got to nose down to get your airspeed back.
Right, right. In fact, the rule of thumb is whatever angle, climb angle you're at when the rope breaks or the winch dies, you put the stick forward and you get that same angle downward. So if you're climbing at 40 degrees, you want to put 40 degrees nose down after the break.
Okay.
And it usually only takes a couple of seconds, then you get your speed right back. And you can make a turn to the left here. We'll get back out over the open skies. And the legal limits for VFR, which stands for Visual Flight Rules, is we're supposed to stay 1,000 above the clouds, 2,000 feet to the side, or 500 feet below. So they want us to give the clouds plenty of clearance so that if some guy in a business jet, you know, an autopilot, sipping on a martini, well, maybe he's not doing that, but comes blowing through the cloud, we have a little time to maneuver.
Sure. Where is the airport from here?
It's directly behind us, about maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles. And this glider will go 7 miles on 1,000 feet of altitude, just so you know. Yeah. And then of course you have to factor in the wind. We're upwind from the airport today. We could probably go maybe 8 or 9 miles on 1,000 feet of altitude, you know, going with the wind. But maybe only 5 miles going into the wind.
So is your aileron trim, is that connected from me to you?
Yes. Yep, yep, the elevator trim it is. Yep. In fact, you can look at it right now. See I'm moving it?
Yeah, I do.
Yep. And you can look at that yarn for a minute, Matt. Here's if I push my left rudder pedal, see how it goes to the side, and my right rudder, so I can move the nose left and right. Now look at it right now. We have an expression called "step on the head of the snake." Say that yarn is a snake. The head is now on the right-hand side. The head's part that's squished on the canopy.
Yep.
So if I want to fix it, I step on the head. In other words, my right foot, and it straightens it out. So you can also think of it as an arrow pointing at the foot you need to push. Go ahead and make a left turn here. We'll not go into this cloud as fun as it looks. Now you feel those bumps?
Yep.
Yeah, we're starting to get down around cloud base. The boundary layer is the area of the atmosphere where the thermals live, and they reach from the ground to the base of the clouds, actually to the top of the clouds to be totally precise. And so once we get around cloud level, we can start to feel those thermals again. There they are. And that's good news, bad news. Bad news is going to it's going to bump us around. If you're not feeling good, it's going to suck. But the good news is that means we have lift and we can circle and climb and stay as long as we want. Gray cloud we're about to slide under up here ahead of us.
Yeah, I see it.
It's going to be usually where the thermal is, there's lift. Around the thermal, there's sink because it's generally kind of a zero-sum game up here.
Sure.
So this is the sink that precedes the lift. Assuming there's going to be lift in about 5 seconds. Now we're under the cloud right here. Should hit it pretty quick if there's any. Well, not very much.
Thinking about it?
Yep, this next cloud looks better. I know we're not going to want to circle, but there we go. Next dark cloud looks even better, and then we'll bring it around and land. How you doing?
A little bit better.
All right. Let me know. I can open the spoilers and try to get her down pretty smoothly. We got one more chunk of lift here. Should I avoid it?
No, I think you're okay.
All right. I know it's hard for you to answer because you don't know exactly what your body has in store for you either, probably, right?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's totally involuntary, which makes it a little weird. See that smoke head to the right?
Yeah.
Or steam, whatever it is. We look for things like that to get an idea what the wind is doing on the ground. So wind is of great interest to anybody who's going to land. That would be us. Alright, I thought we'd get some lift right here, but I'm surprised it's not a little better. We go over the golf course here, then we'll enter the pattern. How's that?
Right.
I'm doing a very weird pattern, by the way. Don't pay any attention to what I'm doing now. We usually do a downwind basin final. We do that every time, crisp and clean. We hit our altitudes and everything, but I'm trying to minimize turns. I'm going to make one U-turn and get on base here. Okay. And you can turn off the barrier now if you want. Fairbault traffic glider 37 Mike, left base, landing 30 Fairbault. So flaps, if I had them, I'd set them. Undercarriage is down a lot. Speed, probably 65. We got a direct crosswind from the right. I can see the wind side. Down we go.
It's your crosswind.
Yeah, yep. You see the windsock?
Yes.
It takes a while looking at those sometimes it's hard to tell which way they're oriented, but that's definitely blowing from the north, from the right. So it feels like we're high, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've only got a little spoiler open though. Normally I would demonstrate them by yanking them wide open here for you, but last thing you want to do is lose your stomach right here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait. We're just coming nice and easy. That's in the speed trim, everybody's looking to land. So that's my checklist. Here comes that little sideways approach we talked about. It's like paddling a canoe across a river, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to get down about a foot off the runway. I'm going to hold the glider off for a while. I'm not going to let it land. I'm going to keep coming back with the stick, keep coming back, and then we're down.
Alright, beautiful landing.
Thank you. And then it should be easy to make a right turn here with the wind blowing on my tail. Easy to turn that sharp, and the wing goes down right there.
Wow.
You made it. Well done.